Hi, I'm Ben Stewart. I'm the founder and owner of SpeechWire Tournament Services, and I'm going to talk with you as part of this video about how to run live online draw events with SpeechWire student accounts and your SpeechWire Tournament Manager account. So this is something I'm pretty excited about, but I do expect that the design of it is going to change over time. It's totally new for the 2020-2021 school year. And when I say totally new, I mean at this stage in late September, it's like a couple weeks old. So I really think it's going to be changing a fair amount. That being said, I think there's enough here for me to demonstrate the concept behind it and what it can do. As of right now, as I'm speaking, it's not currently something you can just turn on in your account. Soon it probably will be, but for now, if you're watching this and you're like, this is something that I really want to have in my tournament, I would encourage you to send me an email at support@speechwire.com and we can go ahead and get this turned on for you so that we can try it out. But if it's like, late October or November, you don't need to email me. Take a look in the scheduling manager, and I think you should be able to see how to turn it on based on the content in this presentation. The idea here is that you have draw events in your speech tournament, extemporaneous speaking, very likely, possibly also impromptu speaking, maybe radio speaking as well, where you're going to have students who need to be able to draw, but there's no physical prep room, right, where they're all going to be together and they're all going to be drawing in speaker position order or out of order or in big clumps of people with the same speaker position. So you need to figure out how you're going to do your live online draws if you're doing extemp impromptu radio synchronously, where students are competing live in front of a camera for students or for judges who are watching. I'll speak real quick to the concept of asynchronous extemporaneous speaking, impromptu speaking. You can certainly do these events asynchronously. In that case, you would probably be sending out prompts or questions or topics, and then the students would be recording their performance and uploading them. Is it the same as a live tournament? No, it is certainly not the same as a live tournament. It's very different. But it is something that you can do. You can even use SpeechWire to record multiple, or to have students record multiple performances for the event. For instance, for different prompts for each round, you can watch the asynchronous tournament video that I created for more information on that. We're going to focus here more on synchronous tournaments. So these would be tournaments that are running live. One option for you that doesn't involve using my new features would be to just have a Zoom call or a Google Meet or something to that effect, which is your draw room. In that case, you could have a proctor who's running draw. They could be sending direct chats or direct messages to students who are drawing, giving them the topics they're choosing from or the questions that they're choosing from, and then running it that way. That's absolutely available to you. But this is a new and different way of doing this. It's super new. It's totally new. There may be things about it that change. I've incorporated a couple of different approaches to extemp and impromptu so far. I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of that. Your state may do things differently, and if so, I encourage you to let me know and work with me. We can probably figure out a way to warp and change this feature to make it fit the needs of your local community. I'm still learning about all the different ways these events are done in various places. So I'm going to jump into the tournament manager area. I will say that the approaches I'm about to show you are heavily reliant on SpeechWire student accounts. So you need to make sure that if you're going to use these features for your live online draw, that all of the students in your prep events have SpeechWire student accounts activated, or they will not be able to take part in this. And the way you monitor that is by clicking Teams and then by clicking the View Student Account Activation Status button. So here you can see which students don't have an email address entered. You can see which students are activated. You can keep track and make sure that students are moving toward activation. It is very important that the students entered in your draw events have those accounts activated because they will not be able to draw in this method otherwise. I still actually recommend, if you use this approach, that you have some sort of communal space where the students can come together. If you're using the Yachtly platform, you could create a custom room for draw. If you're using another platform, maybe you can have a Zoom call for draw. Maybe you can have a Google Meet for draw. You might be able to use a Jitsi Meet for draw that you can create yourself, or that you can create if you're on the campus platform or the 8x8 platform as a custom room in SpeechWire, which is a feature that isn't quite done yet in late September 2020, but will be done very shortly indeed. So that would be an option for you as well. Regardless, you still want to have a place where someone who is running draw can confirm that students are actually in the draw room and ready to prep their speeches. You don't want to be in a situation where you're just saying, well, it's this person's turn, so even though they're doing their DI right now, we're just going to make them draw extemp. That is not going to be good. That student's going to be very upset. You're going to have an angry coach, most likely. You still kind of need this communal space, even if it's virtual, where you can have draw, where you can run prep, okay? So even if you have to send out that URL to your attending coaches, it's still something that I think is a good idea. Let's get into what it's like to actually run this new feature as a manager. So I'm on my homepage right now, and I'm going to click Scheduling Manager. I'm going to scroll down and click on Manage Live Online Draw /Prep. So in this page, I've told SpeechWire we're going to do extemporaneous speaking with an extemp draw, and we're going to do impromptu speaking with an impromptu draw. Radio draw is coming soon, but I'm not going to be demonstrating it on this call. It's going to be pretty similar to extemp draw, just actually probably simpler, because you'll just be releasing linked to prep material that is probably going to be the same for all the students. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit simpler, honestly. In this case, though, I'm going to demonstrate extemp and impromptu. So once you've said which events you want to use draw for, you can click Manage Topics and Materials. In this case, SpeechWire is collecting one big bag of questions for each round of extemp. So I've only put in round one. You'll notice that some of these are probably more valid extemp questions than others. Mother's maiden name, not the best extemp question. What is the future of New York City? Probably better. There's a variety of different things here. So some of these are real extemp questions, some of them are not. We'll return to managing draw. We'll take a look at impromptu. For impromptu, we're putting in a different set of impromptu topics for each section that I have in impromptu. So you can sort of put in however many you're going to have for however many sections you think you're going to have. And then the students in that section will receive these prompts from the judge. So of course for impromptu prep, you don't need a prep room because the judge is the one who's going to be giving those impromptu prompts to the students. So I'm now going to return to the scheduling manager. That's how you set up the draws. And now we're going to fast forward and say that it's the day of the tournament and we're going to actually have the draw. So I'm going to say that I am the person running draw who will be logged in with the manager's account. So it's somebody you trust, hopefully. But they will go and they will click Run Live Online Draw /Prep, which is currently in the scheduling manager menu. So which draw am I running? Extemp. Which round? We're going to say that it's round one. So here we go. So I've scheduled my schematic, the manager has, and this is currently what I see for my speaking order. So the student that I have access to demonstrate with is Eli Hardwig. So let's say that in the Zoom call or wherever I'm running prep, I say, okay, Earl, you're ready to draw? Great, we're going to open draw for Earl. CJ, you're here? Great, we'll open draw for CJ. And then Eli, you're here too. Great, we'll open draw for Eli. So those three students had draw opened for them at 10:47 a.m. So let's go see what it looks like to be using the online draw in Eli's SpeechWire student account. So I'm going to access the tournament, and it says here, click here to enter draw. So once I click that, it says, Eli, round one, ready for you to draw. So Eli is going to click here to draw now. So here we go. It says click on a prompt below to select it for round one. And if I look at the moderators area, the person who's running extemp prep, it now says that Eli Hardwig drew at 10:47 a.m. and is selecting a topic. So the person running prep can sort of keep track of things that way. So in this case, we're going to have this person select mother's maiden name. an interesting extemp topic for sure. So now it'll update again on the prep side saying that a topic was selected at 10:47 and the most recent draw happened in this section at 10:47. So the person running prep can sort of keep track of prep this way and plan when they want to open up prep for the next set of speakers accordingly based on when these draws occurred. So Eli can now go ahead and prep their speech on the question, mother's maiden name. The judge, when they receive their electronic ballot, when they go in, I'll go ahead and log into it right now because I believe I assigned it to myself. If I go ahead into, I did not release it yet. Let's go ahead and do that. I would like to demonstrate this. We'll release Post and Blast Extemp, and we will release Post and Blast Impromptu, round 1. And then in my judge account, I should now be able to see those ballots. So I'll open up my extemp ballot, start the round. And if I go ahead and open up Eli's comments page, it's going to say the draw opened for the student at 10:47, the student drew at 10:47, and the student chose their topic at 10:48. And then the topic they chose was mother's maiden name. So as the judge, I have access to that information as I'm watching the student and putting in my comments. So let's go ahead now and talk about what it looks like to do impromptu as a judge. If I go into the impromptu round and I say click here to start the round, again, we're going to say that Eli is the student who is here and who is ready to go ahead and speak. And it says this student has not drawn yet. Once the student is present, you should click Open Draw for Student below, which will show them their topic choices and let them pick one. So I'm going to go ahead and open draw for Eli. The choices here were Larry, Moe, and Curly. So basically what's being assumed here is that Eli is in whatever synchronous room they're performing in. So if it's 8x8, it's an 8x8 room. If it's campus, it's an NSDA campus room. If it's Yachtly, they're in the Yachtly room with me. They're logged into their SpeechWire student account also and ready to go ahead and receive these impromptu prompts. So let's take a look now at that SpeechWire student account. I'll log out of my judge account. Normally, obviously, you wouldn't be jumping back and forth like this, but you get the idea. So we'll enter draw now. Eli is double entered in extemp and impromptu. So now there's a item here that says ready for you to draw. So Eli is going to click here to draw now. There we go. Here are my prompts. I'm going to select Moe. So now I have chosen Moe. I drew at 10:50 a.m. I selected Moe. If this is an 8x8 tournament or a campus tournament, of course, then also you have access as a student to your video rounds. So for instance, you might click on your impromptu video round, interact with the judge who says, okay, I've put those topics into your student account. You have your impromptu round open in another window where your video is, and then you've got your draw open in your student account, and that's where you drew Moe. Now let's take a look at what it looks like on the student account, or excuse me, on the judge account after the student has drawn. So I'll go ahead and log in, and I'm going to click on my impromptu ballot, and I'm going to check Eli, and it says draw open for student at 10:49. That's when I gave the student the topics. The student selected the topic at 10:50. So they opened their draw and they selected the topic at 10:50. And then it says they chose Moe, and I can go ahead and put in comments and my performance time and so on. Let's say that I'm a very nosy manager and I want to see what's going on in impromptu. I actually can pretend it's a prep event like Extemp, where there's an Extemp draw, and I can track when these students are selecting their topics as the manager. So that's something else that I have access to. So that's the basics of the live online draw system that again was released, not even yet. It's going to be released pretty soon. If you want to use it, and it's currently early fall 2020, email support@speechwire.com. We will work together to make sure that we get you what you need to do your online draw. Hopefully I won't say there's not enough time. You've got to figure something else out. I'm very committed to this new feature. I think it's going to be really useful. I'm honestly very excited about it. I hope you are too. But mostly I'm just grateful to be working with you on your tournament. And if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. Otherwise, I'm excited about your contest. I'm excited about working with you and having your students on my platform this season. And if you need me, support@speechwire.com is the way to reach me. Otherwise, thank you. I hope you have a great day, and I wish you great luck this season.